Hi, everyone. This is Erica here. I am the Media Communications Director at Criterion, and I'm excited to be joined by Kelly Cotton, VP of HR at the Miller Group. Tonight, we will be speaking about employee engagement on another session of the Future of Work series. So let's start speaking about employee engagement. So Kelly, can you tell me, how do you motivate and keep employees engaged in your daily activities?
Yeah, I think it's a great question. I would say for the Miller Group in particular, the organization is a construction company. So that personal touch is very, very important. So we try to have a balance between that personal touch, utilizing technology, given we're in a remote work environment, and trying to meet with our people one-on-one. So we try to do as much of a variety as possible. The human touch is, like I said, very important for us. So we actually have our president sends a handwritten note to every new employee. I also send an email to them welcoming them to the organization. And then after their probationary period, they also get a formal letter from me saying, congratulations, you're formally a part of the Miller Group and the Miller family. We're happy to have you. But I would say the other piece to that is the practical day-to-day, right? So making sure that our employees understand what's the vision for Miller, what are our values, how do they play into that bigger picture, so they understand how they fit into the organization. And we do that in a couple of ways. One, certainly by explaining what our values are and what the behaviors are that we want to see from people, and tying that into our performance reviews. So I think you hear a lot of folks saying, do performance reviews make sense? Are we moving away from those as an organization, as an HR profession? I still think that touch point that allows employees to understand how they connect to the bigger picture is really important. So we leverage the performance reviews as a way to engage people, to motivate, to help them to understand that bigger picture. Mm-hmm. And then, I think the other piece that we've been trying to do, which is very different for us over the last year, is those informal connections such as this over Zoom or over Teams, utilizing technology to help us connect with people. We will have informal coffee breaks. We'll have informal touch points just to say, hey, how are you doing today? Has been really important for us as well.
Interesting. And just while we're on the topic of technology, it's a question that we were going to ask a bit later. Are there any technical solutions that really help on this front that maybe we don't know about? Maybe beyond Zoom and Team, are there is there some software that you find very, very helpful in terms of keeping your employees engaged during this time?
Good question. I'm maybe not the best person to ask that question to, only because we, in the construction world, we're pretty, traditional, okay. Right? So that face-to-face is important for us, and that personal touch, as I said before. Having said that, we are looking at technology to help us connect with our hourly employees, so our field folks. It's very easy for us to connect through technology with our salaried employees because everybody works off of a laptop. Our hourly employees who are in the field 12 hours a day, don't have access to laptops, but are on machinery and things like that. How do we connect with them? Mm-hmm. So we're looking at technology to help us leverage that communication. It's very, very important to make sure we're connecting with those 75% of our family, Miller family, right? So we haven't landed on a platform that makes a ton of sense yet, but we've been investigating, and it is important for us to move forward.
So, would you say that there are some other very active and innovative companies that inspire the direction that you're going in that we could
Yeah,
maybe
I
discuss?
think, again, for us in the construction field, it's hard to look at companies that have done a really good job. And I'm not saying that construction can't get there. I think we can. And there are organizations that are doing a really good job.
Mhm.
But when I think about companies that are really connecting with people and helping them to feel engaged, PCL is one that I would think is doing a very good job. A couple others like Southwest Airlines and Google are the ones that come up all the time.
Mhm.
Um, but for me, how I align that to the construction world is how they treat their people, right? So it's treating them like owners. Employees understand that what they do day to day has a big link and an impact on how successful the organization is. They take pride in their organization and how successful the organization becomes.
Mhm.
Um, I would say also those organizations promote the whole self, right? So, what are you doing to engage and bring your life to work and work to life? There's no such thing anymore as a work-life balance. That just doesn't exist, right?
Sure.
More so, how do you integrate the two together? And that's when it becomes a way to engage employees to bring their whole selves to the organization. So being able to give them time to volunteer, being able to give them some flex time to be with their family when it's important. Those types of things are what I see other organizations like the Southwest, the Googles, the PCLs doing very, very well.
And would you say that you have some best practices that you've observed, whether within your own company or within others, that kind of provide a guideline that we could look towards in this conversation?
Yeah, I think certainly when you think about being remote, which is the new world that we're all living in, um, those informal touch points are really important. I
Mhm.
think the other piece I would say is um, recognizing proper behavior and recognizing achievements. So we're not that great at recognizing when people do great things. And that is something that we're moving more towards. And this remote workspace is allowing us to do that. So when we see people who do amazing things, how do we promote that on social media? How do we promote it on our website? Um, how do we recognize people and how do they want to be recognized? I think our best practices for sure. Um, the other piece I would say in terms of engagement is that personal touch. And I love the fact that there's the ability to connect with people, not just this way, but certainly in the old fashioned way, if you will, of writing letters and making people feel like they matter
Mhm.
by taking the time to do those little things.
I would love to talk about learning a little bit, if you're open to it. So in a
Okay.
time where everyone, you were saying over 75% of people are on their laptops, do you find that there are some ways that that you that help them to self-motivate because they're not in the office anymore? No one is sitting around them to watch them. How do you get people to be self-motivated and take the initiatives now that they're working remotely?
I think I like the idea of learning that you brought up initially. Um, we actually have expanded a lot of our learning platform to do a lot of that learning online and to provide employees an opportunity to do the short bursts of learning because they're sitting right in front of their computer.
Yeah.
So how do we do that? We actually have a great group of people internally who have created learning opportunities for our entire team, and they will do Zoom calls and things like that. But then we've also been starting to build a library of online learning that employees can tap into and utilize when they want, right? Whether it be at a break or after hours or during the workday, to help them just to get over a hump of something that they're struggling with. I would say the other thing that keeps people really motivated is focusing on innovation. So that's the other piece. Our different businesses have to focus on innovation in order to stay ahead of the curve. And we're lucky that our parent company, Colas from globally, Colas SA, has provided a platform where our employees can give different ideas around innovation awards, learning, and things like that to keep people motivated to think outside of their day to day, and to keep the energy flowing and the ideas flowing as well.
Is there anything else that we might be able to learn in the field of HR for 2021? Like what would be some advice that you would give somebody in your role as 2021 has begun?
I think there's a couple of things. One, I would certainly say continue to be agile and flexible, because we don't know what the rest of 2021 is going to look like. And I think the other piece is communication is absolutely key. So communicate, communicate, communicate. And even when you think you're communicating enough, it's not enough. So continue to communicate more. I think that I've learned that over the last year or so, that even though you feel like you're over communicating, it's just not enough. Going. And employees are the backbone of a company. So it doesn't matter how many processes you have in place or how many KPIs you have in place. If you don't have the right people who are motivated and engaged to help you to get to that next level, you're not going to get there. So making sure to have all of your employees engaged and moving in the same direction is critical success. I think those are my three.
Well, thank you very much. We really enjoyed speaking with you this evening. And thank you so much for joining us on today's Future of Work session by Criterion. We really appreciate you taking the time to join us. And we are sure that our listeners really learned a lot from you. You said some very insightful things. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And we hope to speak to you again soon.
Great. Thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you.